that Habs logo is on most buildings 365, just in the windows of businesses, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's it. You don't see people running around the streets with Habs gear on and yelling and stuff. They don't think they're going to win tonight.
How about that?
People say, it would be nice if they won so Tampa could win at home in front of their crowd. You probably saw what John Cooper said about that. He's like, no, we're ending it in Game 4. They're not that positive about tonight.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is. Good day, Canada. Canadian sports fans around the world. Welcome to the RP Show. We're live. We're in the bunker. And we're ready to talk sports for the next 2 hours. You'll notice that there is no Moose DuPont. You just saw the wide shot if you are watching on Game Plus TV or YouTube or Facebook. The Listen Live people could not. But Moose is off for a couple of days. Can I say, Darren, what he's doing? He's caddying. That's what he's doing. And good for him because he's got a beautiful week for it. So I can do this. I'm rolling solo here for the next while. Coming up on the program today, Sportsnet Sean Reynolds, Justin Dunk from 3downnation.com, and the NLL's Devin Caney, the face of the NLL. I'm a little out of sorts. We just rolled in. We got back after the game last night from Montreal. How about those Habs, guys?
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? And I literally just kicked this goalie mask onto my feet. These things are heavy. But I got a lot of things to get to here in the warm-up for E-Cold Electric. And you know what? Why don't we jump into that? Please, Director Jordan, can you hit that? The Quick Six show topics, please. The Quick Six. Thank you. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. Number one, the Montreal Canadiens knock off the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-2 in overtime, extending the Stanley Cup final. And away we go to Tampa for Game 5. And you look at the game last night. It's part of my commentary today on Cat Country 98 FM and Rock 98.5. There's something about Josh Anderson that he's only got 5 goals in these Stanley Cup playoffs. It seems like he's got 20, but you know why it seems like he's got so many goals? It's because all the goals he scores are big. So you probably heard the intro to the show here where, just 24 hours ago, I was in downtown Montreal where even the most ardent of Habs fans were just kind of turning out the lights, peeing on the fire of the season, going, hey, we made it this far. It's been great. But the players couldn't think that way. Dominic Ducharme couldn't think that way. And they came out and, I don't know if you would say they laid a whooping on the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. I went and looked up the shots this morning. I've seen a few different the hit totals. It was like 37-34. Tampa Bay out-hit the Montreal Canadiens. But Carey Price had his game of the series, and away we go. And there's a little bit of you, right? There's a little bit of you thinking that Montreal could come back and win this series. I have written here, Montreal. I have to say this. I was just on the phone this morning with a CFL guy, and he said, how was Montreal? And I said, it was life-changing. And I want to thank Game Plus and DuPont Media and Darren for sending us out there to do those live shows Thursday, Friday. I did the live hit yesterday from out front of the Bell Center. This is what I said to my buddy, this CFL guy this morning, who, by the way, played for the Alouettes. At one time, I said, they're watching us out there. And they weren't just watching us when we came out there. They've been watching for a long time. I'm not going to go into specifics specifically. Obviously, Knuckles Nyland's one, my good friend, where we had supper Friday night to watch Game 3. What a gong show that was. But then, I guess why you people like this show is these stories. So here's one. Sunday night, Chris Milo, the 2-time Grey Cup champion kicker with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Ottawa Redblacks, was watching my story, and he said, you better call my dad. Are you calling my dad? Because my dad's going to be really mad if he knew that you were in Montreal and he didn't call. You didn't call. His dad's Franco, good friend of mine. Got his number in my phone, but we were busy. And anyways, I said, you know what, you're right. So I called Franco Sunday night, and we were going to go to Momesso's sub restaurant on Monday, Sergio Momesso's sub restaurant. And Franco goes, I watch your show all the time out here on the TV. And I said, well, Franco, you should write in sometime. So they've all been watching out there in Quebec for a long time, whether it's Videotron or Rogers Cable or Eastlink Cable. They're all watching on Game Plus TV. So can you make a little noise in Quebec in Atlantic Canada and let us know that you're watching. Now, furthermore, how well were we treated? Mon Dieu. This flag came from a Habs souvenir store. This Carey Price doll came from the Habs. Like, I literally said it on the air yesterday, and I'll say it again. When I was going on about Habs fans being annoying, they were watching. They thought it was funny. They don't care. C'est bon, c'est bon. And now their team's alive. They believe there's going to be a miracle, and they're going to come back and win their 25th Stanley Cup. And all of a sudden, we got a series. And it was very hard to sweep, by the way, in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's why there hasn't been one since the 90s. It's hard. Is there a little bit of doubt in the minds of the Tampa Bay Lightning? No. But there wasn't any doubt in the minds of the Toronto Maple Leafs either until it got to Game 6 and Game 7 and Montreal was coming back, which furthermore brings me to point 2. Tampa Bay Mayor Jane Castor. Look, we've all seen the clip, haven't we? The mayor of Tampa saying the Lightning are going to go easy on the Habs in Game 4 and bring it back here for Game 5 in Tampa. Hey, from Sean McCormick, what's he say? Downtown Toronto. Welcome back, Rod. I hope you and Darren had a great trip. No chance the Habs come back. Tampa finishes it in Game 5. Stamkos shows up and gets it done. Spoken like a true Leaf fan.
How about that?
Come on, Sean. What is it? Croyez-vous au miracle? Do you believe in miracles? That's what it's going to take. Hey, whether we think they're going to come back or not, which incidentally is the poll question, and I haven't tweeted it yet. Clark, I apologize. He's put it on Facebook. The daily poll question for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Do you think the Montreal Canadiens can come back and win it? What is it? 73% say no. Listen, I'm sitting here adorned in bleu, blanc, rouge. I got Carey Price riding shotgun. I would have to vote no, just based on stats and analytics. But the hockey gods showed up last night. You see what John Cooper said after the game, Tampa Bay's head coach? You lost track of how many posts they hit. Of course you believe in hockey gods and God. Because if you don't, what do you believe in? Can those hockey gods get into America, into Amalie Arena, and then come back across the border? I don't know, but it's one game at a time. The feeling that I got in Montreal on Monday was that from the fans, just the fans, it was so overwhelming to them to think that they could win 4 straight against the best team in the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning, but that's the wrong way to look at it. You can only win one game at a time. You can only win one period at a time. That's how Dominic Ducharme and the Habs were looking at it, and lo and behold, here we go, going to Florida. But anyways, back to Mayor Jane Castor, who just foolishly said that the Lightning should lose Game 4 and come back to win it on home ice. This is why politicians should stay out of sports. And frankly, it's why us sports people should stay out of politics. Because nobody wants to hear our opinions on the other. I don't want to hear her opinion on sports. I'm damn sure she doesn't want to know my opinion on politics. So don't put any stock into what she says or any politician when it comes to sports, okay? What else we got, guys? Oh, Craig Smith. Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, says, love seeing your posts on Instagram. Miss going to that fabulous city. Oh, Montreal's unreal. But you know what? It's very similar to Vancouver, Montreal, in that they are the 2 most beautiful cities in Canada. They can arm wrestle over which is number 1. But they're the 2 most beautiful cities in Canada. And you don't hear them telling anybody that. Have you ever noticed? Do you ever hear Montreal pounding its chest? Who has ever referred to Montreal as the center of the universe? Nobody. And if they think they are, they would have reason to believe that, but they don't say it. Same thing about Vancouver. Unlike other major Canadian cities that need to tell you how wonderful and beautiful and great they are. But they'll remain nameless. Jeff Cabillas in Winnipeg. Hockey gods can strike at any time. Ask the crossbar I hit 3 times when playing at the Forks rink in Winnipeg. Gotcha. How about that? John in Winnipeg. John says, look at that Habs flag. I got to say, boys, it looks pretty good there. What do we think? Oh, from the resident Leafs fan. It all got quiet back there. It looks beautiful. They're Canada's team again. By the way, the warm-up's brought to you by eCold Electric, your complete electrical distributor with locations in Regina, Estevan, Swift Current, Yorkton, and Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. eCold Electric. Let's get to work. The one thing that I realized, by the way, when I say going to Montreal was life-changing is that we need to get out of the mindset of Western Canada or the rectangle because they're all following the CEBL. They're all following the CFL. And speaking of that, that's coming up here. So I'll pick it up here in the Quick Six show topics in the warm-up. Sean Reynolds, by the way, coming up from Sportsnet Winnipeg, who's covering the Stanley Cup Final. And I literally fist bumped with him yesterday. And now he's on the show today. Number 3 point, the NBA Finals will open tonight, and you will be watching because there's no Stanley Cup playoffs to watch tonight. It's the Milwaukee Bucks at the Phoenix Suns. And by the way, I was watching ESPN this morning getting ready for the show, and they are saying Giannis Antetokounmpo probably won't play for Milwaukee. Sorry to our closed captioner for that one. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I just said Greek freak, and why is nobody calling him the Greek freak anymore? Have we decided that that is ethnically insensitive? I'm going to continue to call him the Greek freak. No Greek freak for Game 1 tonight. Phoenix home to Milwaukee. We'll be watching. It is 7 p.m. Mountain tip from Talking Stick Arena. Point 4, I mentioned the CEBL. What's Shelby Gray saying there? He says, when Kucherov, can you go back? When Kucherov hit the post late in the third and Montreal killed off Weber's 4 minutes in the third in overtime, just know the hockey gods were on the Habs side and bound to win it. Yes! Especially in Montreal. I don't know where they were for games 1, 2, and 3. I just didn't think they could get into America, but they didn't show up for game 3 in Montreal either. But the hockey gods showed up in game 4. And I'm starting to think, well, they're awake now. Are they going to be on that Habs charter to Tampa Bay? We all got to watch. Whether you think they can come back or not, we're all going to be watching. So anyways, to point 4, the CEBL, there was 2 games yesterday. Are you starting to get into this? I have been from the start. Edmonton Stingers beating the Ottawa Blackjacks 104-87. This is pro basketball, guys and girls, which you can watch on CBC Gem and Twitch, and Saturday afternoons on the CBC Main Network. The Hamilton Honey Badgers beat Guelph 101-89 in a battle of Southern Ontario. The Saskatchewan Rattlers are 0-4. I don't want to talk about it. Point 5, Canadian Football League. Is that a cauldron? A kettle of fish? Hey, here we go. John in Winnipeg says, CFL, I have my tickets for Labor Day weekend in Regina. A lot of tickets being sold. Listen, come hell or high water, they're kicking this thing off, right? They're kicking it off. You know that. But what the hell's it going to look like by August 5th? We saw Alex Mateos, officially the starting center, former number 1 overall draft pick of the Ottawa Red Blacks, announcing his retirement yesterday. And then, well, it's a very long list of big-name CFL players that have retired. That's the one thing. But if you're the coach, it's next man up. We know that. Whoever's lining up, they're going to play, okay? They'll grab the guy driving the milk truck if they have to. They're playing. What's the football going to look like? That's one thing, the quality. 2, if you're following some CFL players on Twitter like a Speedy B or a Terrell Sinkfield, how long have they been in isolation? 1 day, 2 days, 3 at most? And they're losing their ever-loving minds, locked up. And as a coach in Texas told me the other day, most leagues and athletes at the pro level are having to live this way. He goes, if you want to play football, you'll do whatever it takes to play football. And he goes, a year ago when you couldn't play, you'd have given a finger to have what you have right now. But as my mom would say, youth is wasted on the young. They're not prepared for isolation like this. But that's the hand they've been dealt. So I hope that the teams are providing some help for these players mental health-wise, because they're going to be locked up at least until Labor Day, probably longer, let's be honest. And they're not making millions like the NFL and NHL players. So it's a tough proposition. Are they going to follow the rules? The one CFL guy I talked to this morning said they're going to have unmarked cars across the street from these dwellings of these players to make sure that they're staying locked up, because they're not making much money and your mind plays tricks on you. And some have already said, is it worth it? They've said, no, it's not. I'm out. But that's what you're not seeing reported, and that's what I'm not going to go any further down that road. There is news today that I'll get to from other locales. And just 0.6, Columbus Blue Jackets goalie Matis Kivlenieks being killed over the weekend. Just tragic. I just wanted to acknowledge him. I've been in a situation exactly like he was, and was fortunate enough to live to tell about it. He was not. So I just wanted to mention him, and condolences to his family and the Columbus Blue Jackets organization. We'll be right back. Sean Reynolds will join us from Sportsnet to talk about the Stanley Cup going to Game 5 in the Montreal Vibe. You are watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network across all 10 provinces and 31 states, live daily on YouTube and Facebook, and 24-hour sports radio. For Suds Full Service Car Wash at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.